Welcome to Inside Boxing's Throwdown. Inside Boxing Throwdown, man, I'm going to tell you what. We are the real deal. We talk about, we see it, we call it as it is. We're not opinionated. I'm telling you what, this show is taken off, and we're glad. We want to thank you, the audience, because our ratings have gone way up, and that's a contribution to you guys that are watching us. Steve.
In spite of some mistakes we made, like in one of our episodes, neither one of us could remember the name Austin Trout.
That's right, okay, but it just means we're real. Just means
exactly
we're real.
Right. We talk boxing the way we know it.
We got Steve Johnson and Aurelio Martinez. So in this episode, Steve, we're going to talk about some of the fights that happened this weekend. We're going to talk about Roy Jones Jr. He's back and he's still in the ring, and actually he's doing pretty good. Yeah. We're going to talk about Antonio Tarver and Steve Cunningham, and you know me, I'm a big fan of Steve Cunningham.
You've always been, I'll give you that,
and always been since he started.
Yep.
So we're going to talk about that, and then of course the big surprise of the week, Huck, Marco Huck. So I'm gonna let you start with everyone you want, but we're going to cover all them three fights. So go ahead, take it away.
Well, let me just, because this shouldn't take long. Let me talk about Marco Huck first. Marco Huck has been champion, I think, for like 13 years. He was stopped, by the Polish dude, Krzysztof Glowacki, in really surprising fashion. I mean, it was one that was a shocker. I'm in a couple of boxing picks for, where we came, and I was surprised some people actually saw that upset. I didn't see that one coming. That would shock me. But credit to Glowacki, he handled his business, okay? If you want to talk about that fight, anything you want to say?
I just, it just goes to show when you got a hungry fighter and you got one that's comfortable and knows he's a champion, knows he's going to win, and kind of sleeps on another fighter.
Well, wait, I don't think he slept on him.
No?
No, I think this fight is definitely in contention for fight of the year, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I'm not talking about sleeping as far as action in the ring. I'm talking about sleeping as far as mentally thinking that this was another win for him because he's been champion. Yeah. And when he got in the ring, he had no choice but to fight because this guy was bringing it.
There you go.
That's my point. And you got a hungry bull here.
There you go.
And he had to deal with it.
Yes.
And in the end,
he couldn't.
There you go.
Okay. That's a good point.
So good.
Okay. Then the last fight, like I said, congratulations to Glowacki. Excellent. Yeah. You can't take nothing away from him. Okay. This fight had implications because 46-year-old Roy Jones Jr. had been targeting Marco Huck as one of his opponents, as he said he was going to move up.
Yeah.
He stopped Roy Jones Jr. stopped Eric Watkins in I think it was the 9th round. I can't remember what round it was, but he stopped him in the 6th round. Sixth round, stopped him with the left hook. Okay, Radio. You're not gonna like this. Okay. Roy Jones, I'm sorry, dude. You need to get back and go on to HBO and because all these lower level opponents that you're fighting and you're knocking out, it's great for you to, get up there and we see flashes of the old Roy, doing his things, but there's nobody at the upper level that that he can handle. There's no question, and I think he's actually almost getting to the point now where he's embarrassing himself, and I hate to see that because there was a time, and I think most of us that follow boxing will tell you that. There was a time that Roy Jones was just dominant, and to be just honest about Roy Jones was the shit.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, and that's where I'm leading to, and I feel you in what you're saying, but it's hard, very hard for me to talk bad about Roy because Roy was one of my favorites. I mean, and like you say, even in this fight, he showed flashes. I mean, he's fighting with his hands down, and he still has some of that timing when he's fighting an inferior opponent. But when you're fighting a contender, the contender is going to take advantage of that. But I can't talk about Roy because I'm one of the guys that had him as one of my favorites.
Exactly.
One of my favorites. I mean, he was untouchable.
No
he
question.
He was what boxing was all about.
That's right.
And I hate to see him now and watch a fight as purely entertainment.
That's all he is doing now.
You see what I mean?
And that's why I said the lower level opponents, because those of us, like you said, man, we remember his first fight with Tarver. We remember his fight with Vinny Pazienza, where Roy was just, unbelievable.
I'm trying to think of his reasoning for staying in the ring. I mean,
well, he's there commentating, for HBO, and he's watching this. And I remember when he said, "I can beat these guys." Okay. Well, the guys that he's commentating against, he hasn't dared to call out one of them. He's coming out fighting me, you, Kathy, Lupita.
Yeah,
I mean,
what's the reasoning? He just can't get it out of his system.
He can't let it go.
Do you think he needs the money?
No,
do you think
I don't
he's
think
broke?
he needs the money. No, I don't think so. I think he can't let it go.
I mean,
and as long as he's sitting there ringside,
maybe he's chasing. He's chasing Hopkins and Foreman's
record of
being old.
Years old. Yeah, that could be it.
Maybe he's just come out and say what he's trying to do, and I think it may be better. But anyhow, entertaining fight. Okay, we'll leave it at that.
Let's move on. Let's talk about Steve Cunningham and Antonio Tarver. I had to watch that fight on the replay. I know we had talked about it, and you had told me that it was a pretty boring fight.
It was a boring fight.
I watched the fight, and I didn't think it was that boring.
It was a boring fight, Steve. It was a boring fight, and I'm going to tell you what. It was boring because Tarver made it boring. My man Cunningham, boy, he did everything to try to make this a fight, man.
Yeah.
He was aggressive. He was coming forward. Tarver was just pot-shotting with his old ass.
No, that's what I saw too. But
I mean, he was, and Cunningham was doing his best to try to get this guy to mix it up and do something. I mean, but he just wouldn't. Tarver wouldn't engage. He was happy with that southpaw thing, and you know they're both relatively small for heavyweights.
True.
You know,
what
was 208 or something like exactly.
Yeah.
But Cunningham, you did what you had to do. You came out shining. And even though it came out to be a draw, you won that fight hands down. And I don't mean on the score of the judges. You won it because Tarver wasn't willing to give the people what they deserved. Okay.
And I can find a little bit of fault with what you said because I don't think that Cunningham won the fight hands down. I think that.
I mean he won a hand. You won the fight as far as being the real boxer in the ring.
Okay, and I dispute that because I think that, like you said, Cunningham was coming forward, but I thought that Tarver landed the cleaner shots. No, seriously.
Oh, yeah,
I thought that he landed cleaner shots, and because he would not engage with Cunningham, that's what made it a fight that you say, both of these guys, let me just say this. I think that this fight showed with them that neither one of them was worthy of anything, as far as I'm concerned.
It made Cunningham look bad because when you try to force the issue, you don't look good. You just don't. Nothing happens. You don't show technique, and that's exactly what Cunningham was doing. He was trying to force the issue, so he was squaring up. He was throwing white punches. He was just doing everything wrong, but the reason for it was not because of his skills and talent, is because he was trying hard to force the issue. He was trying hard to force the issue, and he has to back up. Okay, he has to back up and say, okay, well, I'm not going to force the issue anymore. I'm going to box my style. I'm going to box my. If the guy wants to engage, fine. If he doesn't, then that's fine as well. You know.
My major problem was that Antonio Tarver. You know, before the fight, after the fight, he's still up this thing of calling out Deontay Wilder. If I'm Deontay Wilder, I laugh at him. You know,
if I'm Deontay Wilder, I'd take that fight.
I wouldn't. You haven't. You know, we talk about.
Yeah.
I know the favorite thing that people like to
probably
say.
It won't sell. That's the thing.
And I usually don't like to say this, but he doesn't deserve it. I mean, you know, there's no way that he deserves anything. You know, all Bubblegum Lips is doing is running his mouth, and you know, and I hate that because that's what I think he's always been guilty of, is running his mouth. You know, if he wants to do something. Now tell me what you think about this. If he wants to do something, let's do number 3. Number 3 with Roy Jones Jr. How about that one?
Roy Jones will beat him, man. He beat him this time. He beat him this time. Yeah.
I would watch that as long as it's not pay-per-view.
He can fight James Toney again.
As long as it's not pay-per-view, I would watch that.
He can fight James Toney again. Let the old guys mix it up.
You talk about boring. That would be. You know, I love my boy James Toney, but he's done. Real quickly before we end this episode, I want to talk a little bit of radio about our 10-man team we have over there at the AIBA, trying to get that to the AIBA World Championships that will held in Qatar, later this year. But we've got our 10-man team from USA Boxing, and that team is composed of. Let me give you your names. Yeah. We got Nico Hernandez, Brent Venegas, Francisco Martinez, Carlos Balderas, Tyreek Irby, Anthony Campbell, Brian Sabalo, Steve Nelson, and Cam Awesome.
I didn't hear Banderas.
Who?
I thought
Balderas? Carlos Balderas?
Banderas from California, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
okay.
Carlos Balderas.
Okay.
He's there. And as a matter of fact, I think in yesterday's action, I think Carlos lost.
Did he?
On the opening.
Okay.
And I'll have to verify that. But we just want to congratulate those guys. They're over there in Venezuela. I know for a fact that Cam Awesome, Steve Nelson, that they all won. They both won. I think Brent won also. But we'll follow up on them more. This is all leading to the Olympics, 2016 Olympics in Buenos Aires. In Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
Brazil.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think I'm gonna go to that.
To Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah.
But you're not going for the fights.
I'll catch a glimpse of the fight.
I'm
gonna catch a glimpse of a lot of
okay, whatever.
Sunshine.
Stop it.
A lot of sunshine.
But congratulations to you guys over there. Keep doing good work, and I promise you we will give results of how this ends. It started yesterday. It ends Saturday night. Okay, over there in Venezuela. And like I said, congratulations to all you guys getting ready for the Olympics.
Good. I'm glad we gave our amateurs, because part of this show is we want to keep the amateur action in the highlight of boxing. So
yes,
we're going to continue to do that. Okay.
Yes.
So Steve, with that end this week's. They can come back next week and catch our episodes next week, where we'll bring it, and it just gets better and better. And again, thank you guys, the viewers. Like I say, the numbers don't lie. We're getting recognition. We talk what we speak. We talk what we feel. Sometimes people are happy. Sometimes they're sad. But we're not here to be on this side. We're not here to be on that side. We're here to talk boxing.
That's it.
Okay. So till next week, keep them hands up.
Keep them up, baby.